Hello. So I wanted to first give you some feedback and info about who I am and what I've done, so that you can then put what the views I'm going to share with you in context. Yeah. So I started out in the IT business way back in 1985 when it was all about personal computing and the whole industry was starting to take off. In 2003 is when I first got to know PortaOne. We launched, Malta was joining the European Union, and we launched uh, voice over IP and SIP in Malta when the whole deregularization of telecoms was happening. So probably we were one of the first customers at the time of PortaOne before Roman, I learned today, and before Mike. I think Andrew must have been there because I guess you started PortaOne, right? But I remember at the time it was also exciting and so innovative. Vanilla is now 20 years old as a company, and we do wireless internet, we do SIP telecoms, we do cloud PBX. We are the only remaining independent ISP on the island. There are the three main MNOs and telcos, all owned by foreign, um, share capital and investment agencies. So we are the last remaining and only Maltese-owned telecom company in the world. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the reality we live in. Oddly enough, despite the fact that we are in the European Union, and despite the fact that we are the only Maltese telco, we face a hostile regulatory environment. So we're constantly being pushed out of the market by the regulators. And this is where PortaOne has enabled us to survive, first of all, and to continue growing. So a lot of where we are today, we owe to PortaOne. And where has this advantage been for us? It's been in the availability of support. It's been in the availability of PortaOne personnel to help us identify problems and also skip over all the regulatory requirements that are being thrown at us regularly. The last one, literally a few days ago, that PortaOne helped us to overcome. I want to share with you where I believe the industry is going and where I believe smaller operators like us need to leverage. First of all, I believe that today we are on the cusp of a massive revolution. And many people have still not understood this. So, whilst if you look back at the time when the pyramids were made, you had millions of thousands of slaves, yeah, dragging stone. Today, this would be inconceivable. Today, we would be using machines, trucks, lorries. AI are the lorries. AI is the machines. We are going from a period of time where we employed slaves. The developers might not like this term, but when we employed a lot of people to do a task that AI will do in a fraction of the time at a fraction of the cost. I recently gave a presentation. Um, Stop telling your kids today to become programmers. It's a bad idea. In 8 years' time, they will not have a job. In 8 years' time, AI will have developed so much that what we today have an in-house programming team to do, we will have a couple of people that essentially know how to prompt and how to problem solve. Today, what we need to develop is a very good problem solving group of people who can look at a problem and identify a solution and then pass this solution onto someone else who is very good at prompting an LLM. Much of my time, a lot of my time, I spent in politics in Malta. I was a member of parliament, and when you delve into politics and you touch the way countries take decisions and parliaments take decisions, you understand why we in the telecom space are looked at like the spacemen of industry, because we have to take decisions very quickly and we have to change direction very, very often. And very often, legislation lags behind us. So we are running ahead, and then legislation tries to catch up. Regulation of artificial intelligence is going to happen very soon. So we are looking at, I would say, within the next 6 months, you will have a European framework of regulation for artificial intelligence. What will that include? Knowing the European Parliament, it will certainly include the fact that all data must reside in Europe. And when you're talking about the major LLM companies being US based, ChatGPT, Google, Microsoft, this is going to be a big problem for Europe. America has raced ahead when it comes to AI, and Europe is now going to have to catch up. So this is Europe's primary and fundamental challenge, if you will, when it comes to this industry. Regulation will also bring about a lot of obligations, as we know, on operators to subscribers. They will need to know what happens to their data, who they're talking to, what information is being gathered, and all of this. My suspicion is that this will also be extended to the back end. So when we face regulation as AI, even if it is not customer facing, there are going to be obligations and limitations placed. And I think everyone needs to be ready for this, because right now there's a lot of enthusiasm behind AI. And as Andrew said, MWC was essentially AI everything. Even people who didn't have AI said they had AI. But at the end of the day, you might be rolling out solutions that you're going to need to change in less than a year. So your question to me might be, okay, so what are you saying? Do it, don't do it? Do it. You have to do it. But you need to be ready to change. But this is exactly what we've been doing through our whole existence, all of us who have been in telecoms. Just a few words about my company and what we do today. As Natalia, the name is right because I'm horrible with names. Tatiana, you see, I lived up to my reputation. Tatiana, we started 20 years ago deploying a wireless network at a time when everyone on the island was still using copper. So in these 20 years, we've seen the reason of our existence completely obliterated by the advent of fiber to the home. So our biggest selling point before was we can deploy quickly, we can give you a high upload speed. Today, all of that is gone. And if we still had some hope for survival, along came Elon Musk, put some satellites in the sky, and started beaming internet down to anyone who didn't get fiber. We're now competing with Starlink. So we had to pivot. So today, the internet side of our business is rapidly declining as the fiber to the home takes hold and all of this. SIP remains our biggest source of income, and now services. So we're now consulting our customers on AI. We consult customers on deploying technologies within their infrastructure. So sometimes when it comes to pivoting, you need to be ready to leverage every asset within your organization. be it your experience, be it your tech stack, be it the products that you currently sell that you will need to change tomorrow. To conclude, because I don't want to take a lot of time, just a couple of words about PortaOne and where I see a few challenges from a small telco point of view, and where I feel that PortaOne could give us a lot of assistance. Certain things today, I believe, are lacking, and I will explain in what context. For example, to me, the fact that there is no sign-up portal that actually works, because the one that there is doesn't work, I think is a mistake. I think you should have a sign-up portal, even if it's the most basic thing that allows me to put a website up and have customers sign up. So, in my opinion, that needs to be changed, and I think it needs to be part of the package. Some integrations in 2024 need to be part of PortaOne. For example, all of us here must have a way of communicating with customers. Today, the biggest advantages in e-commerce are, if you look at the companies on the e-commerce platform, the biggest people there are people like Klaviyo, who are essentially an email-based, trigger-based emailing system. Can you imagine the power of having PortaOne have a small integration to a software package like Klaviyo, which then allows you to send marketing information based on the fact, oh, this guy has suddenly started making international calls. Let's propose a package. And all of this is all automated. And right now, I feel that certain integrations, which, yes, you might argue there's an API for that, but for a smaller operator like ourselves, we need this to be kind of something like integrate with Klaviyo, bang, done. So out there is in my opinion, a market for this type of integration with larger things like Klaviyo, like Shopify for selling services. And you start to merge the whole worlds of e-commerce and telco, because we are merging. This whole sphere is going to merge, and it's going to become very difficult to understand. What are you doing? Are you making a call, or is it, or are you just chatting? I mean, the whole concept of how we communicate is going to change. And our phones, what today is our phone, probably in about 8 years' time, I don't even think phones as we know them today will exist. Is basically going to become just a simple portal for communicating in every possible imaginable way, whether it's purchasing, whether it's messaging, whether it's talking. Guys, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to thank PortaOne for this opportunity. I wanted to thank you guys for these 5 minutes. And I've met a couple of you on the van. Some of you I know for a while. Looking forward to meeting you all. And thank you very much for this opportunity.